All right, here we are, live on Thursday. Dr. Cody in the house again.
Hello, 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 hello.
How's your week been?
I feel so good. I
Good.
feel so good. I feel so at peace, at ease, and powerful. Peaceful and powerful is how I feel.
Peaceful and powerful. That works. That's
Yeah.
feeling good. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling powerful. Just got back from workout. We have a men's workout Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's like 8 guys in the gym. So fun to get all that
Sweet.
testosterone in there and sling some iron around. It was fun.
That is fun, man. That is
Yeah.
good.
Well, today we're not talking about what we're talking about power, we're talking about peace, but in relationships. So more specifically, if you ever feel like you're dating the same person over and over again, but you're just in a different body or different situation, then most people are not alone. Why do we keep attracting the same people or the same situations over and over again? Right. This could be a whole series of conversations, but what we want to talk today is about revealing the reasons why we keep attracting the same relationship dynamics, the same situations, the same kind of patterns. And whether it's, codependency, emotional unavailability, chaos, control, whatever it may be. So we're going to go over that today. And also we're going to talk about why this is happening, but also how can we change and rewire those patterns? What are the things we can do to start attracting the relationships into our life, whether it's romantic, life or business? The relationships are going to enhance our life and everything we're doing. So first off, why do we keep attracting the same kind of person? Dr. Cody, I know you've got some stories about this. We've kind of talked about this at different times, but what are some of the most common relationship loops that you see people going through?
Yeah, and I know we've talked a lot about this. I have a very different viewpoint. I've worked with so many people, man. And I've gone through all the ringer myself. So I want to just present a different perspective. So let's start off by just looking at like attraction itself, because I'm going to tell you, I had this grossly wrong and inaccurate for at least 20 years. Okay. So is there anywhere, let's talk about attraction. Is there anywhere in our universe where where likes attract like? I think it's important that people just answer that for themselves. Where in the universe do likes attract like? Look at the periodic table, which makes up our world. Where on the periodic table do likes attract like? There's nowhere that exists. Nowhere does the same attract the same. It's always the opposite. That is it. So this isn't about. I think humans get really bent out of shape about this, but this is the truth. The same, like two positives repel each other.
Right.
So likes do not attract like. It does not exist in the universe. And it actually opposites attract. So positive and negatives are attractive forces. The reason the periodic table even exists and our earth and our air and our universe exist is because that is true.
Yeah.
So isn't it funny then I went into attraction thinking, you know what, I'm gonna attract the person I want, because I want a positive person. So I'm just gonna be positive. But isn't that according to our universal makeup, positive people would repel positive people. You would attract negative people.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my favorite things to see is like in the dating profiles and the dating sites. I love looking at what people write. I want a kind, caring, loyal, honest man or woman. When I see that, my mind immediately says, if I was coaching that person, the first thing I would say is, you are fucked. You are fucked. And the reason why is because you yourself are not just kind, caring, loving, and loyal. So anything that we haven't loved inside ourselves, we tend to attract in a partner. That's when I got that, it was like, but
Say
this
that one
really,
more time. Say that one more time. It's really important to re-say that point.
anything we have not loved or owned inside ourselves, we will attract in a partner or in
Yeah.
friendships,
Meaning the
relationships.
things that are in the shadows, the things that are that have been hidden, the things that have not been loved or shown light on, those are the things we're going to attract in the opposite person.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, I think one of my favorite ones is the narcissistic trait, it has 9 qualities or so. And this is one of my favorite ones when people like they finally get in touch with me and they're really upset about their relationship and they found this narcissist who's got all these egotistic qualities. And it's interesting because well, the first thing I look at is, okay, if they're attracting a narcissist, who must they be? Who is the opposite? The opposite of a narcissist is an altruist. So an altruist is an angelic, do-good person. That was me for 20 years. So that's an out-of-bounds perception, by the way. It doesn't fucking exist. A do-good, right? But that's what religion would like you to be. That's what society tells you to be, is a do-good. I'm a good kind of person. So you must be insanely altruistic. You must be completely out of bounds in the positive charge for you to attract this narcissistic. And this narcissistic is literally magnetic to you because it's trying to show you the parts of yourself that want to be loved. There's no more simple way to say it than that.
Beautifully put. Beautifully put. And I think it's what I want to add into that is that this is not a coincidence. It's a pattern, right? It's not about what's wrong with you. And I'm saying with you, that everybody listening, it's not what's wrong with you. It's about what your nervous system recognizes as familiar and safe. And also what Dr. Cody is saying there is like you're attracting things. If you're not doing the work, you're going to keep attracting those things until you do the work. So it's going to keep showing you things in your life that are going to force you to look in the mirror and give those things love and the intention and light, or it's going to keep bringing it to you. Part of that pattern that keeps going until we actually learn the lesson and see what's really there. So beautifully put as a foundation. And so let's talk a little bit about like the science of like familiarity. So the subconscious mind and body are always seeking familiarity, not necessarily what's healthy or aligned, right? It's seeking, is this safe for me to do? Is it familiar? Have we done this before? And so people have grown up before in like, walking on eggshells. Attention only came when you've performed or got a result or like won a trophy. You had to fix or parent your own parent. Emotional chaos was the norm, or is the norm that's going on. And then if you have those things that are going on, then guess what? Your body and those dynamics are going to normalize that love and unconditionally attract people to recreate those scenarios that are safe to the nervous system. So again, it's not your fault that you're bringing these in. It's just unconsciously, this is where you're at responsibility in an unconscious state, bringing these people back into your life. And you sometimes, I don't know if, how many times it took to date the same kind of person to get to realize, wow, okay, the only common denominator in me is here. The same stuff is kind of happening. What's going on with me? So it's that time to look inwards, and to attract what we really want. We've got to know how to rewire and think about relationships in a different standpoint. So what's some of the tactics, Dr. Cody, do you think that we can put into place or get perspective here on?
Yeah, man, for sure. This is great. This is powerful. What I'm going to say is going to be very unpopular and very powerful. And the mind will resist this. When someone comes to me and they're considering getting out of, let's say they're considering getting out of the relationship. They want a divorce. They want to change it, whatever it is. The number one thing that I want to do is I ask them, would you please list off the characters and qualities specifically of that person that you don't like? Okay. So we'll list it off. They're just mean, narcissistic, selfish, and we'll list off all the qualities and characteristics. Let's say it's 5 or 6 things or 9 things. Well, I will then go back through and I will go through each one and make sure we find that inside that person. Because most people who finally talk to me, or probably even you especially, is they've probably already seen the pattern. That's the funny thing, is people kind of go, this is weird. How come I keep attracting this kind of man or this kind of woman? And so eventually people start asking questions. And so the number one thing you can do is, before you change something, before you get out of something, before you run away from something, look at the things you don't like and go find them inside yourself. So go find moments where you're critical and find the benefits of the criticism. Go find moments where you've been mean and find the benefits of being mean. Go and own those things until you love those things that you don't like in the person that you're with. I wouldn't change the relationship, because all you're doing is you're going to find the same thing in a different body. So if you want to shift your reality, go and love the things you think you hate. Now that sounds almost like something that Jesus was trying to teach.
Yeah. doing so I hear what you're saying. Instead of like, because this is where radical self-responsibility and self-acknowledgement come in the relationship. Do your very best to be the best version of yourself. Look inward if you can in this relationship, instead of jumping to another one and affecting someone else's life, bringing all that baggage with you, and then creating more turmoil. I think this is where it taking more time in between relationships to get to know self, to fall back in love with self, and to have these questions answered and reflected inward, whether you're with somebody or you're single, are so important to do. So I'm glad you're saying like, hey, don't just jump ship right now. Don't just rip off the Band-Aid. Really look inward and shine some love on this, because once you love those things, what you're saying is once you shine light on those aspects, it's very interesting what can happen in that relationship without any talks happening. It's an energetic shift. It's a complete rewiring of the mind. Could then the unconscious mind is going to start seeing familiarity in this relationship and seeing, oh, this does exist here. I can be safe here with Sally or John or whoever I'm with, as opposed to having to run away, pack ship, and go to another relationship.
Man, you you really nailed it. Because one of the things I really love doing in our conversations is bringing science to what we're talking about. So that way people, that's why I started out by talking about negatives and positives in the wiring of the universe and the periodic table. I start with that. So this isn't so etherical because the reality of what you just said was, if you go and do what we're saying, if you go and own and love the things inside yourself that you don't love inside your partner, here's what's going to happen. One of two things. One, either that person is going to completely shift and show up completely differently, and you will resonate and have a better relationship, or there's no resonance anymore because you've already owned the mean. You've already owned your narcissistic, and the narcissistic person doesn't have to be there anymore. So this isn't so what we can get out or in a relationship. I love the statement, let vibration do the work. Most people understand that energy, that God is energy. It's everything. That's the same thing. So when I say let vibration do the work, I'm saying let energy do the work. Let God do the work. Your work is loving as many parts of yourself as you can. And you can only ever date yourself. That statement is so damn unpopular. Like if I want to create a date, we should create a dating app. Okay. Like a spiritual dating app. And it would be like, it would be called, we'll come up with some name, but the slogan is, you can only ever date yourself. And so whatever you put out there, you're going to find yourself.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. So no, I love it.
We just call it the mirror. We call it the
mirror. Yeah. That's a good name for it. That's perfect. That's a really good one. On the tail end of this, I want to add this, and I think this is important for us to talk about trauma bonding versus true intimacy. Because many times, also what we're talking about here, and I really want people to understand this, that they keep doing these patterns because what sometimes feels like chemistry and love can really be the unconscious mind sometimes looking for recognizable chaos. So the pull, the magnetism, like it could be your trauma trying to find a familiar loop. That's why you find somebody else with a similar background, like, oh, they get me, they understand me, they've been through that too. Oh, okay. And there's a trauma bond. So trauma bond is like, let's talk a little bit about that. What is trauma bond to you, and what is true intimacy? What's the difference?
That's a really good. I love that. That's a great question. Boy, that's a great question, man. We could probably do a whole conversation on that. But let's define intimacy. I'm sure there's a dictionary definition you could read off. But
connection. So intimacy being connection through like safety, truth, and vulnerability.
Well, let's upgrade it. Into me, I see. Intimacy is seeing inside yourself. So that's what really intimacy is. So is seeing inside yourself. So letting someone else see inside you, but honestly, it's letting you see inside you, and that is true intimacy.
True vulnerability. Yeah,
that's when I mean, for most of us, that's like, because that's the whole point is if whatever you haven't, what I've noticed is whatever I haven't loved inside myself, it's very challenging for others to actually even see, because you're not even seeing it, right? Sometimes,
exactly.
Yeah, you're blind. Exactly. And so I think when you mentioned about trauma bonding, it's interesting because shared reality is what I'll call it. In other words, if we both lost our father when we were 7, there's a shared reality.
Yep.
And I think that can also feel good. You can feel seen in that. It's like, wow, we share it together. And so this I think is kind of the scary thing for the mind. I had someone this morning I was chatting with, and when I mentioned this to her about loving, loving this parts of her husband that she was, not sure about if she wanted to stay in the relationship, and her mind, she said that's a little scary, because what if I love those parts of him and I stay in the relationship? That's the mind talking, right? It's like, what if I love? It's like, what if you stay in a relationship that you end up loving? You know what I mean? And so it's interesting because you will. That's the whole point of letting vibration do the work. Let frequency do the work. If you end up owning and loving things inside yourself, the scary thing is you will probably, and I say scary to the mind, you will probably, if you're trauma bond with someone, you'll probably actually move out of their resonance level. So if you, for example, share, let's say this as a shared reality that men are terrible, men are pigs, all they want is one thing. Let's just say that's what two women share. Well, if one of those women owns that her part of herself that she just wants sex and she's a pig, she will fall in love with that part and vibrate out of the other person's reality. And that's the problem, is you go, well, wait, where are you? I thought we were sharing that together, right? So it's all, when we look at falling in love with parts of self, it's not always a fun thing, because the people that haven't loved with those parts themselves, they're not going to resonate with you anymore. So
yes, beautifully put. Okay. No, I'm loving where this is going, and this is a huge subject to be able to cover in 20 minutes.
I know, right? That's what I was thinking.
But what are some of like it's really, let's look at some of the actions people can take, right? Like breath work again. I'm always going to go back to breath work and doing unconscious work, subconscious work. Tools they're gonna work. You can't journal your way out of trauma bonds. I mean, you could try, but I don't think that. You got to retrain the nervous system. You've got to feel safe, peace, presence, and healthy love in your system, and shine the light on. Love all the parts of you first, so that they are then aware, and you have that awareness, and you can start showing up in a relationship differently. What are some other ways to, to find the right partner, to get yourself ready to attract that right partner?
Wow. I like this one. I like this one because okay, let's talk about the concept of the fantasy that we create, that I've created, and you can tell me if this is true for you, Aaron.
Sure.
But I when I think about, I want to find this certain woman, the first thing I do, and I'm saying the thing that I wouldn't recommend doing, which we all do, is we create the fantasy person. Okay, the fantasy person has certain qualities and characteristics, and then we have a box of things that are what many people call them red flags. So I want this, and I don't want this. So here's what I would do. This dude, you want to really affect the fabric of time and space in our reality. Look at your green flags and red flags. Look at your boxes. So the things that you want, maybe it's like fit, healthy, certain color hair, active, income, whatever it is. And look at the opposites. I don't want whatever it is. Maybe it's mean, narcissistic, whatever qualities you don't want. I would go through each one of those qualities and I would look at the downsides. I'd list off 10 reasons why those things that you want are downsides to the things you value most in your life.
That are what?
Downsides, drawbacks.
Downsides, yeah, downsides, right.
Drawbacks, negatives, downsides. So if it's like fit, what is the 10 reasons why a fit woman or man will be a drawback to the things I value the most? The reason why is I want to get these positives off of pedestal. I want to get them out of fantasy land. Okay. And then I'd go through the negatives and I'd list off 10 reasons why each one of these things I don't want would benefit my highest life priorities. In other words, the things I value the most. Because what we want to do is get those things off pedestal, bring them down. Yep. We're bringing the things out of the pit up equal. So now we can attract someone who sees us eye to eye, not like this.
Yep. I love that. It also manages and presupposes or prefigures out like expectation hangover. That way you're not trying to see the person as the ideal. You're seeing them in reality.
Yes.
Right. Not this idea of the up on this pedestal. Oh, they're so great in all these things. You're just bringing the reality to the situation. It's not a negative thing, right? It's just more of a different lens and perspective so that you're truly authentically in that relationship for the right reasons. And you're honoring all the parts inside of you and parts of the other person. Absolutely love that. As a final kind of thought here, you don't really, you don't really find the right partner. You become the right partner for yourself first, right? That we don't need anybody else to complete us, that we fall so in love with ourselves. We are so full of self-worth and self-value that we are good. And then when we meet the other person, it's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = 11. It is multitude. It is exceptionally another level of growth and being in a relationship when you have two wholes coming together.
I think it's a mic drop. I think we should end it on that one. That was beautifully said, man. That's
Thank you.
Honestly, 10x versus 2x.
10x versus 2x. Exactly. Yeah. And we can all do that. We can all deserve that. So going back through, I think the action step is going to be great, writing those things down. And really just kind of taking an inventory of the things that are unseen or unheard or unsaid and hidden in our past relationships. What are the things that we have not shown the light on? What are in the closet that we need to bring out to be able to inspect it and look at it, so we're not bringing that hidden baggage into a relationship? We can be more honest and authentic with whoever we're talking about. Exactly. So I think this has been a great conversation. Thanks for joining me on it.
Yeah, that's cool. I know we got to close it out. It was great to see you, buddy. I'll see you next week.
Love you, brother. All right, buddy. Everybody have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Thanks for being on. We'll see you again.
Yep.